Hello, everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. So, as promised, we are moving on along with the Bard Guide, taking a look at Bardic performance, and I gotta say, it's easy to forget how much Bardic performance can actually end up doing, and I may just have to break this up into its own two separate videos as well. But, we'll see how much we can get through today. So, let's just keep this right on rolling and try not to waste too much more time. Starting us off, you get a number of abilities at first level through Bardic Performance, starting with Counter Song. Now, this allows you to counter magic effects that depend on sound. That doesn't mean spells with verbal components that won't affect that. Regular spell casting is fine. This is specifically things like ghost sound, illusory effects like that of an auditory nature, or different bardic abilities like Fascinate. What you do is you make a performance check each round using either keyboard percussion, wind, string, or singing, and any allied creatures within 30 feet, including the bard, may make a new save against the effect using the bard's performance check for the save. This doesn't work on effects that don't allow saves, so, ignore those, but for everything else, you can use your performance check for the save and potentially, especially characters like fighters and barbarians, help them get through that pretty quickly. The only drawback with this is a lot of sonic effects like that and bardic abilities don't always come up a whole heck of a lot. If you're facing sirens, different kinds of fey creatures, or bards, then yes, this will be great to have in your back pocket. Very, very useful. But it is a bit situational. And then the next ability we have is Distraction, another first level ability. You counter magic effects that depend on sight. You make a perform check each round, like with Countersong, and you have to use a performed skill like Act, Comedy, Dance, or Oratory. And any allied creature within 30 feet, and the bard, may make a new save against an illusion pattern or illusion figment that they are affected by, and you'll use the perform check in place of that saving throw. Which I like this one a bit better than Countersong because illusions like different patterns and figments come up with a bit more frequency. They're used quite a bit more often than just things like ghost sound. So you will get more use out of this. It's not going to be always a whole heck of a lot more. It certainly depends on the setting and what the DM's throwing against you. But I'd say this one is definitely a good one to have. And then after that, we have Fascinate. So, Fascinate, you use performance to cause one or more creatures to become fascinated. The bard and each creature fascinated must be able to see each other within 90 feet, and they need to be able to hear the bard as well, and be capable of paying attention to them. Nearby combat or other dangers will prevent the ability from working. So if they're on a sinking ship or in a burning building, you're not going to fascinate them. Combat obviously just said it's not going to work. For every 3 levels after first, the bard can target one additional creature with this ability, and affected creatures will get a will save equal to 10 plus 1/2 the bard's level, plus their charisma modifier. And affected targets will take a -4 penalty to their perception checks. Which, that's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. The thing is that this is not going to be a combat ability. This is what you're doing when, you're providing a distraction. You're making it easier for the rogue, the ranger, or whoever to sneak around, get through the door they're not supposed to be going through, get by the guards who are supposed to be blocking them from going into restricted areas. This is, a distraction. And unfortunately, the big limiter for me with this one is just that you can only affect so many people, and depending on how the DM rules things, I would say the bard should be able to select their targets, but I can see room for the DM saying, you're going to affect the closest creatures or whatever, and the guards are uh, going to be wary of somebody intentionally trying to get their attention. So your mileage may vary, but for you DMs out there, I would allow the bard to pick their targets. And if other people are incidentally distracted by the bard singing or performing in the street, fine, but if they're looking to get specific people on them, allow them to affect those targets. And then after that, this ability is the bread and butter for the bards. This is Inspire Courage, also one of the many suite of abilities that you get at first level. You use your performance check to inspire courage in the bard and their allies. An ally must be able to see or hear the bard's performance, and they'll receive a +1 morale bonus on saving throws against charm and fear effects, attack, and weapon damage rolls. Pretty nice right there, getting a +1 to attack and weapon damage. That's awesome. Absolutely great to have. And then at 5th level and every 6 levels thereafter, this bonus will increase by +1 to a maximum of +4 at 17th level. Inspire Courage is a mind affecting ability, and it can use either audible or visual components and must be chosen when using this performance. And I would say what you specifically want with this is you want auditory. You want to be singing or perform comedy or oratory. You want to be delivering an epic, grand speech. That way, you leave both your hands free to keep firing off arrows at your opponents and participating in combat. Not just providing a buff, but actively doing damage without having to drop or switch weapons in order to pull out a lute or a flute or drums or whatever else. You want to keep your hands free so that way you can keep fighting and performing. Now, the next ability is another good one to have. Really solid, really useful. And that's Inspire Competence. And this kicks in at 3rd level. Use performance to help an ally succeed at a task. The ally has to be within 30 feet and be able to see and hear the bard. And this will give a +2 competence bonus on skill checks to a skill as long as the ally continues to hear the performance. This will increase by 1 every 4 levels beyond 3rd, capping out at a +6 at 19th level. Certain uses of this ability are infeasible, such as stealth. I mean, if you are sitting there encouraging people verbally, hell, you can't even really... I would say you can't even really use dance to try to encourage or inspire competence in people. And so this can be disallowed at the GM's discretion, and reasonably so, I'd say. A bard cannot inspire competence in themselves. Inspire competence relies on audible components, so they have to be able to hear you. I would also say they also need to be able to understand you generally. Or you need to be making it clear somehow that you are trying to encourage them. So, again, mileage can vary. It's not, you can use it in combat, and certainly in combat, an ally could use all the boosts they could possibly get, but what exactly that's going to look like really just depends on the situation at hand. So, this one's a really good one to have. It's not one that is going to be used as often as, say, Inspire Courage, but still, really good one to have in your repertoire, and it's one that you just get to have, like so many others in this list. And following after that, kicking in at 6th level, the bards get Suggestion. You use performance to make a suggestion, per the spell, to a creature that the bard already has fascinated. So this is where Fascinate gets to be much more useful. If you're fascinating them, then you can use suggestions. So, Fascinate, while situationally useful, Suggestion makes it much better. Using this does not end the fascination effect, but it does require a standard action to get it started, on top of the free action needed to continue the fascinate effect. A bard can use this more than once against an individual creature during an individual performance. So if you mess up on one performance, then you have to start another one, or at least use another performance to get it going. A will saving throw equal to DC 10 plus half the bard's level plus the charisma modifier will negate the effect. This ability affects a single creature. Suggestion is an enchantment, compulsion, mind affecting, language dependent ability, and relies on audible components. And joining me now is my most adorable co-host, Nora, journeyman storyteller and initiate to the 7th Circle of Lore. She has also refined her ability to craft homunculi up to a princess status. Absolutely incredible to see as she summons them up from the Aether of Tarjay. These things are a lot of fun, and a lot of fun watching her just work with these, but they are difficult to keep track of as such tiny creatures are. But let's keep moving right on along here. I said we needed to use as our time as effectively as possible. So, going on from there, we have Dirge of Doom, and this one is an 8th level performance ability. You use performance to inspire a growing dread in opponents, causing them to become shaken. To be affected, an opponent must be within 30 feet and be able to see and hear the bard's performance. See or hear, rather. The effects last for as long as the enemy is within 30 feet, and the bard continues the performance. The performance can't make the character become frightened or panicked, even if the targets are shaken from other effects. Dirge of Doom is a mind-affecting fear effect, and it relies on audible and visual components to be effective. So, it's nice, and 8th level is certainly not a bad point for a Shaken to still be an effective status effect to inflict on enemies, but it's going to quickly run out, and the fact that you can't advance their state to panicked or frightened definitely limits this. But when you've got when you need to make some good crowd control happen, say you're facing a swarm of goblins, this can help quite a bit. And of course we have Inspire Greatness. This one's incredible to have and is also another 8th level ability. An inspired creature gains 2 bonus hit dice at d10s that add the target's con modifier, a +2 competence bonus on attack rolls, and a +1 competence bonus on fortitude saves. Bonus hit dice count as regular hit dice for determining the effects of spells that are hit dice dependent. Absolutely, little one. Inspire Greatness is also a mind-affecting ability and relies on audible and visual components. You target a single ally within 30 feet, and every 3 levels after 9th, the bard can target another ally up to a max of 4 at 18th level. So, while you cannot affect a great number of allies with this, really, this is an ability you only need to affect 1 or 2 people. You just need to hit the fighter, the paladin, the barbarian, or the monk, whoever is your frontline fighter, your damage dealer, that you need to make sure keeps in the fight. That's where you need to focus this ability, and you will see great results. You will yield interesting. You will yield a great deal of effectiveness out of applying this to the right character in the right moment. Certainly, keeping your fighter alive is very, very important. And amazingly enough, we managed to make it through all the abilities that have been done up, typed up, and put into these different slides and formatting so far. And we have more to go. We go all the way up to 20th level, getting another 6 abilities if I'm remembering correctly. So, if you enjoyed today's video, go on down there and hit that like button, or let me know in the comments down below. Even if you didn't like it, still, go down there, click all those buttons, and let me know what you thought should be different, which points did you disagree with me, and if you did enjoy today's video, there's going to be 2 more popping up over this way that you may also enjoy. And if this has not been your first stop and you've been enjoying the content here at the Gamer's Den so far, then hell, why not become a member, hit that subscribe button. We'd certainly be happy to have you here. But with that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. This has been Nora, Journeyman Storyteller and Initiate to the 7th Circle of Lore. Thank you all so much for your time, and you all have yourselves a great day.